I'm glad you stopped by today. I wanted to talk to you about how to choose a shelter dog and the right shelter dog for you. I really hadn't thought about it much over time, and I saw where Robert Cabral is uh, profiling different shelter dogs on his channel to try to help those dogs get adopted. And I had a conversation with a lady at the shop this week when I was having my truck worked on, and Blackjack was there with me, and the lady and I got into a good conversation about that. She had a lot of questions, but she has even volunteered at a shelter before. But we had a good time talking about it and thinking out the right things to look for in there because this lady had certain demands and everything that she needed a dog for, but she's an older lady and she can't handle a big high drive dog, but she does kind of need a dog to be a protection for her. So, that makes it a little bit trickier for her because she doesn't just want a little dog to be a pet either. Um, so I got to thinking about it and I was thinking, there's probably a lot of people that would love to go and adopt a dog from the shelter who really want a dog, but they just don't know exactly how to do that. Well, let me see if I can help you and shed some light on it. I can tell you how I chose Tick, our Catahoula Australian Shepherd mix, and I can give you some thoughts on that. Things to consider. Number one, if you want a shelter dog, what are your needs for the dog? I mean, because the reason I say that is because when you go, you're just going to want to go in there and load them all up and take them home because you they all have something about them, and you want to love them all, but you can't do that, right? Because then you're just the crazy dog guy or dog lady or whatever. But do you live out in a rural area, on a farm, or just have a rural home there with some property? Do you want a dog for that? Do you want, basically, let's say a farm dog, or like, maybe from the South, do you want just a yard dog, a good yard dog that kind of protects your home, lives outside, and is a formidable dog, one that makes people think twice before they just pull up in at your house and hop out of the vehicle. Um, do you want a pet? Do you want something, do you live in an apartment or a condo where you've got limited space, and you're going to have an indoor dog, and you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to exercise that dog because your lifestyle doesn't permit that, or for whatever reason. Well, that would certainly limit you there. Um, and you've got all the extremes in between. But what I would say, when you go to the pound or the shelter, whatever you want to call it, make certain that you spend some time with this dog. You can't go by the word of the people that work there because they probably haven't really spent a lot of time with the dog and they may not really know all that much about dogs. But number one thing to listen to is your intuition. Your heart is going to tell you a lot. Your gut. You're gonna see that dog, and you're just going to kind of know. If you're thinking about all these things that you need from the dog, but what you can do to be fair to that dog, then it's gonna kind of be a lot easier on you. It's not as daunting as you think. Mixed breed dogs, a good old mutt, a good Heinz 57, what we always called them. Those sometimes are the absolute best dogs you can find because they've just got all these different traits in them that can be a positive. Now, it can be a daggum negative as well, but they can be a positive. To have a dog that somebody asks you what the dog is, and you say, I don't know. I'm don't tell you. She's a female. That's what I can tell you. And you know, she's brown and black and white and red. You know that, and she's spotted. You know, that's what. But they can be great dogs. Um, just don't ignore your gut. If you see something, you know, if you can walk that dog, do that. And especially if you can walk the dog by other dogs in their kennels and see that dog's reaction to those other dogs. Is the dog overly fearful? Is the dog overly aggressive? Is, you know, try to feed and water the dog if they'll let you do that. When the dog starts eating or drinking, reach down there and try to move the bowl. You know, if the dog growls at you, well, that's a problem. Now that's a trainable problem. You can train that out, but you know, but if there's aggression for a toy, you know, get a toy, give the dog a toy, then reach to take the toy, you know, but you know, you just have to kind of let your gut tell you, because you don't want a dog to be aggressive to you for any reason. That, you know, the food and water come from you, the toys come from you, you know, they're from you, and so the dog should be loyal and loving to you. But you do have to give that dog time when you get them home, and you have to be fair to the dog. You have to give them time to adjust to you. You have to learn the dog has to learn you, and you have to build a bond, because you will not train a dog successfully if you don't develop a love bond with that dog, and that, or a bond with them. And I call it a love bond, and you know, okay, if it hair lip somebody, I call it that. I don't care, but you have to. It's imperative. And if you're prepared to do that, and if you are prepared to understand that, okay, if you uh, live in an apartment and you get a German short-haired pointer, let's say, or some type of bird dog like that, you're going to be on a leash walking that dog a lot. You know, and that's great if you're an active person and you've got an active dog and you're willing to put that time in and do the thing. Great, but you've got to be fair to the dog, okay? And that dog will give you dividends that you just, you know, in love and just awesomeness that you never expected. So there you go. That's a brief overlay of how you choose a shelter dog. You know, it's not necessarily what the dog looks like. I didn't say that. It's what the dog is, who you are, what you are, how you live, and what you're willing to do. And then, okay, traits you need to look for in a dog that are not good, but also traits that are great. Can you train it out of them? Okay, are you willing to? Are you willing to pay to have it done, but have yourself trained too to be able to, you know, be good and fair to that dog? But that's what the bottom line is: being fair to them, loving them, and being willing to teach and correct the dog as you go, and it makes you closer. You get so much more enjoyment out of each other. All right, well, there you go. And I hope that you like this. And I ask of you, please subscribe, like our stuff, if comment on it. I'd love to know what you think. And the more response I get from it, the more apt I am to want to put more out like this. I've got just all this stuff right here, and I've not been doing that. I've not been putting these videos out like I guess I could. And I've got a lot of stuff to share. I've got a lot of dog knowledge. I'm a layman. I'm not a dog trainer. I'm just a guy, but I'm a dog guy, and I'm a serious dog guy. And I love my dogs, and love y'all. And thank you. Appreciate your time. Hope you have a great day.